Okay, this is called Rationality is Just a Fad. Rationality has become the sole source of determining value, making judgments, and deciding upon truths in a sort of intellectual pocket of our society. Today, I would like to call the scientific elites. Science has been elevated into a divine status in which it has become the foundational grounding for all thoughts, reasonings, and behavior. An appeal to science today is perhaps more powerful than an appeal to religion in the Middle Ages. It has become a weapon in which the supposed intellectually proficient can club anyone with less brain power into submitting to their views and opinions. The successes of science has left those with any ability to wield it with a feeling of power over those who are more inept in using its deductive process. And although wildly practical, most scientific claims paradoxically fail in the very ways in which they boast. Most of the appeal, and I would say arrogance, of the scientific method is in its third-party character. It seems to take out of consideration our opinions, our values, and our interpretations. Person A and Person B may have insufferably irreconcilable viewpoints, but neither of their ideas matter in the face of facts, empirical evidence, and data. The very nature of the words science uses now have the same authority as a claim that a phrase came out of the Bible in the 16th century Rome. A fact is right, an opinion is not. But here, I'll start introducing the foundational contradictions of the scientific elites. Where science excels in understanding the stable patterns of the external world, it fails at even addressing if there is an external world. Scientifically, empirically, factually, the subjective exists necessarily, but not the objective. The person we know exists. We have data, we have evidence, we have repeatable, predictable experience of. But what science actually studies, the material world that is, it cannot and does not even make a case for its existence or even likelihood. To deny the practicality of science seems barbaric. The stimulations that we actually feel and perceive work in a way that we can predict. But to elevate it to the sole source of knowledge when it is powerless to address what is and what isn't seems equally frivolous. Although understanding the material experiences we have is of course essentially useful, using external stimuli to determine who and what actually exists is not. Cognition and experience exist, and that is as far as anyone can go with mere rationality. Even under the assumption that materialism is true and denying the obvious data we have of subjective personal experience being more foundational than physical phenomena without subjective experience, the godless cosmos science claims exists did so without any sort of rationality. Another apparent contradiction, or at least weakness in an exclusively scientific view of the universe, is that science and rationality are not only historically not a part of reality, but are not needed in any way. There is no rational or scientific manner to determine that rationality or science is a supreme or even good value. Under the materialistic assumptions, everything came into being not through rationality or science, but without them, and all of human history developed without them until 500 measly years ago. Science and rationality are at best unnecessary, while basic stimulations such as hunger, thirst, and sexual desire are needed for survival. It seems counterintuitive to suggest that the ultimate inarguable value or way of thinking played no part in the inception of the universe, but absolutely must be followed today. To reduce human experience to what is logical or illogical is ultimately just another power structure to shame and discredit those with different opinions and views. The laws in which matter behave are irrelevant to how we act, what we want, and what we are that can observe these laws. United with the common material goal, science is a dangerously powerful tool that can put men on the moon and let us communicate from thousands of miles away. But far greater than technology to accomplish these goals is the collective human consciousness to establish common goals in the first place. The tension between science and religion isn't one of enlightenment and antiquity, it is one of perspective. One deals with stimulus we perceive, we experience, and the other deals with what or who is doing the experiencing. One we know is real, and one we do not. If one accepts that something is experiencing is more real than the thing being experienced being real, then even from a scientific viewpoint, a religious or philosophical perspective is not only valid but intrinsically valuable. As many in this age try to establish values, create morality, and make collective decisions based on material stimulus, the perspective could be real, It may help each and every one of us sit back from a different angle and seek to understand the stimulations from the foundation of the experiencer.